So we have completed everything in the Redux. Now today we'll do the unit testing for the Redux part. So let's see currently what is the status of the Redux unit testing. So let me run yarn test and we'll see how much percentage is, we have to fix it because many things are same and we got many errors also. So 6 failed. Okay, so right now I'm not concerned with all the errors because I'll be concentrating on one unit test case. I will be concentrating on that one. Since we have moved to Redux, so we need to fix all these things. Okay. Okay. Ting ting ting. 1 second. Let me see how I can do that. Okay. So let me start with this reducer. Okay, I will be going through this reducer. If I run only this test, maybe I can say yarn test minus minus. I will just say source Redux okay, source Redux site detail reducer dot action. Let's run the action one. Okay, so let's try to run the reducer. Okay, I think we need to run the test files. So let's build the test files and then we'll run those. I think this will not work. So I'll go to the site detail. I have to test both the things, action and reducer, both the files. Let's create a new folder, underscore test, and rename it to underscore. And in that I'll create a new file. Site details dot reducer dot test dot site details reducer dot test dot js file. Okay, so before I write, everybody create this file and then we'll go on writing this test case. Okay, so 1 minute over. Let's create this fast. Now we need to do some changes in the reducer file because my test case may not support everything what here I have. So I may need to do some changes here, which I will do at appropriate time. Like one of the change I did initially, I exported the initial state. Initially it was constant, and for this one I exported this one because I need this initial state for my reducer also. And if you notice this reducer is pretty much a function. So we don't need really the React testing library. Since this is a simple function, we will test it as a function only. So let's try to do something here in the reducer test. First I will call this file here. So let me import that file here. So I'll say import clinical reducer, so not clinical, site detail reducer. Okay, so this is the one, the clinical was my another project, sorry. So I imported this function. I will also import this initial state. So I can also say comma Since initial state is not the default one, I can put it in the curly bracket. So any function which is default, I don't have to put in the curly bracket, but any function which is in the not default state but exported, we have to put in the curly bracket. Okay, so this is the first line. We imported this function. Okay, now I will start writing the test cases here. So first I'll use the describe. In the describe block, I will create arrow function. And in the describe, I will say site reducer. Next is we'll write down the test cases. So first test case will be, it should return the initial state. Okay, so this is something. if you see the reducer, we are passing the initial state and it is returning the state. So whatever state we are getting, if we do nothing here, whatever state I will pass here in the initial phase, that is this initial part, will be returned here. So we will test this condition, whether the initial state which I am passing and which I am getting are same or not. So here I will say, so generally we need two things. Okay, one, I have to call this reducer, and another is I have this initial state here. So I have two things. So let's call the first thing. I will create a variable called as reducer is equal to, I will call this as a site detail reducer, and I will initiate it. So see what is happening. We have to pass these parameters, state and action. So let's say I pass undefined here, means I don't pass anything, undefined. And I pass action as empty state. So when I pass undefined, what will happen? I am passing state as undefined. So what will I get in the return? Whether I get undefined or something else. If I pass undefined here, what will I get in the reducer? Reducer is something what I am returning here. Whether I will get undefined or something else, because I am passing state as undefined. What will I get? Can anyone tell me? Initial state, correct. I will not get undefined here, because when state is not defined, it will take the initial state, and when it returns as the initial state. So whatever I'm getting reducer, it should match with the initial state. Is right or wrong? Right. So let's take what reducer is coming here. Okay. Let me run this file only and see it's working. So I'll say yarn test minus minus, and I'll go to source Redux site details underscore test, and I'll do the site details reducer dot this. Let's run this test. Yeah, I think is this working? Okay, what happen if maybe if I write something here, expect 1 to be equal to 1. I'm just putting dummy line. Okay, I'm running all. Okay, now at least I get the site detail reducer with having some percentage. Okay, so don't worry about this now because this percentage is low. We will try to first finish whatever is there in the file. Okay, so now let me see the console.log for this one. Okay, that's the thing. I will get that one. Okay, I think this is pretty much this. I cannot see all the console. So let's run this in the command line. Okay, let me run here. And I'm not able to copy. Still, I missed the things. I get a lot of failed test cases. Okay, so I'm not able to go to that point. It's scrolling so fast, it's gone. Let me try again with the single file. Let me try with this one. Yeah, generally I run the single test with this one. This command. Yes, here it's not showing anything. Let me run with the npm run test. Yeah, here I'm getting something. I saw something. Okay, let's remove this one and try. Let's remove coverage also. And let's try again now. Okay, here I am able to see now. So you will see the reducer is coming as to do count followers error, and this is exactly same as the initial state. So if I'm calling this function with undefined and it is matching the initial state, that means if both are same, then our test will pass. Okay, so that's the task which we are trying to do it here. We are trying to test if I pass undefined, whatever return value I get, it should match the initial state. So here I will check, expect this reducer to equal this initial state. Okay, so let's try this one. I will also check what is the initial state coming and reducer, both the things. Okay, this is the reducer, this is the initial state, and it's saying one pass. And if I say not to equal, then it should fail because both are equal. Okay, what happened? Let's run again. So you will see I'm getting one fail because it's saying expected not, but they're actually same. So it says one fail. So both are actually equal, and that's what we are going to test it here. So the first condition we tested is if I'm calling the reducer function, is it equal to initial state? Answer is yes. So this is the first test. Try this first test. I will give you in the React Telegram group. Okay, let's go another condition. I will copy this test case. What will happen? What will happen if I don't pass anything here? Will it be same or different? What will happen is, will it be same or different if I pass nothing inside here, no parameters? It will be same because if I don't pass anything, it will take the default value of this and this. So result will be same. So let's try to test this condition. So I'm getting two passed. Okay, these two are passed. Okay, so just add this one also. It is similar to the one. So I gave you this one is similar. Just we have to test it. So now we have to test each of this type 1, 2, 3, 4. I need to test all these conditions. Okay. So let's try to do one by one. Okay, let's try to start with this one. So here I'll create another describe block and I'll name it as site details to do. Okay, maybe in the site reducer, site details to do. And here I will create first test. Okay, I will name something meaningful. Let me write down my test case and then I will write down. So let's write down this reducer. So I will put the reducer here. So here I will try to pass the type of, what type I'm trying to pass? This one, site details add to do. And I'm trying to pass the payload, and I'm trying to pass the payload of some object. This is the object which we create, right, while adding the thing. So let me go ahead and take that one. So it may be in the actions. Yeah, let's take this part also in the test case. And I will try to create this object. So payload is like this object. So here I will pass the payload of this object, and to do I will put something, maybe mango. Okay, let's see why we have this one. Okay, so now let's check what happens in the reducer. This type is there, payload is there. Why I'm getting this one? Okay, it's saying to put some title. So here I'll say should add data properly. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll call the site to do, add to do. I pass some payload which I'm trying to test that whether this payload is going properly or not. And once I put this one, I'm checking the reducer. And what is expected when I pass this payload? When I pass this payload, I'm expected to see the to do number is increased because this line of statement should add one object inside this to do. So let's see what reducer is showing to us. Now reducer has given me the console log. You will see to do has added one object and count is increased to 1. So what it means, whenever I call this site to do, site details add to do, it is adding one object here and it is increasing the count. And it should work like that only, because I'm expecting that after I call this one, this should increase one number and the count should also increase one number. And it is exactly doing that same thing. And that is what expected is. And my test is working fine. That means this functionality is working fine. Because this is what expected is. Whenever I pass something, it should add the object inside to do and it should increase the count. That's what it is. So here I will put some expected condition. So what is the expected condition here? I expect that reducer dot to do dot length should be equal to be reducer dot count. So when I add one data, the length of the to do, that is this length, should be equal to count of that number. So generally it's not the same, because count number is only taking the pending task, whereas to do has all. So instead of putting reducer dot count, putting reducer dot count, which may be incorrect, because after n number of items, some are pending, some are done, so it will not work. But at least here I can say it should be 1 because I'm adding one data here. If I add more data, then I can check it should be 2, 3, whatever it is. But this is, if this is coming like this, and I will also check right now count should be equal to 1 because I know that this completed is false, that is it's a pending case. So count should be 1 and to do length should be 1. So this is the two test cases I have put. So let's run it again. So you will see all three cases passed. If I by mistake I put 2, then it should fail. Okay, let's see again. Yeah, so if I put the wrong data, then it's failing. Okay, so let's make it 1 here, and it is passed. So try to add this test case and run it. So it means that if I call this reducer action, reducer type, then with some payload, then what is expected is working fine. This is what I feel that it should work like this way. To do should increase, count should increase. That's what I'm expecting it. Let me do this calculate number of incompleted tasks also exported. Maybe I will use that part also somewhere. Okay, let me know when it's done. Just run it and see if it is working. Okay, let's move further now. Okay, I hope you have written this. Let's copy this describe block. I'll create another block I will go to another one. We completed this to do. Let's try to do the updated one. It should update the data properly. Okay, so we are trying to update the data. So to update the data, first I will add the data like this, and then I will call the update part, and with update part, it should update the data of this one. Okay, let's try that one. So what is expected in the update? Let's check in the update how we call update one. So we just call the ID, which we need to update. Okay, so the update is expecting only the ID of what we are trying to update it. So what I will do, I will call this function again. So here maybe I'll create another reducer part, maybe reducer 2. Just I'm giving this is just a name kind of thing. And I will call this function again. But here what I'll do, I'll call the update to do, and payload is only the ID. And ID I know this has only one data. So the ID is 0. Yes, I'll pass 0. And I'll try to see what is the console.log of reducer and what is the reducer 2. Now, but problem is this now. I created this reducer which will give me the state details, and it has the updated value of this one. That is, it has the to do of 1 and count of 1. But when I call the reducer 2, I'm trying to call with the undefined state again. So it may not have any data in the to do. So if I need to call again this site reducer, I will take this reducer, that is this state value, and put it here. Because this reducer will have the latest state which has the to do of one object and count of one object. So I cannot pass undefined. If I pass undefined, then what is there to update it? Nothing is there to update. We don't get any update. But I will take this previous state and put it here, because this previous state has updated value of to do. And so when I try to update it, it will give me the updated value. So let's try this and see how it goes. Let me run it and let's see. Okay, now I'm just checking. So I'm not getting it proper. Why it's not sure going up, scrolling up. Okay, maybe I'll do Control C. Okay, so now you will see this is my reducer which has the one object, which is the completed equal to, since both are object kind of thing. So you will see true here also, because it always takes by reference. And if I would have not called this part, then it would have given me the false one. So for example, if I remove this and put it here, if I remove this part, then it will give me only add data which is completed false. But when I'm trying to update it, it gets updated. The completed part gets updated, and both are called by reference. So in both the case, you will see it is true now. Okay. So here also I'm getting true. Here also I'm getting true. Okay. So what I did, I created this, and then I call update. Update makes the completed equal to true. And if I pass this again, if I call this again by reducer 3, and I take reducer 2 here, and I'll check reducer 3 here. I'll delete this console. I don't need it because all are by reference. Okay, so now what will happen? I created this, I updated this, and then I again updated it. So initially it was false, this makes it true and this makes it false again. So when I call this, it should be false. Let's run this again. So here I'm getting false because I called it 2 times. So that means this function is working fine. I will try to pass the index which is not there here in the to do and see what is happening. So, but before that, I will complete this test case. So I will expect reducer2 dot to do's, and in to do's I will check the first item, and in the first item the completed part should be true. Okay, so in the first item dot completed should be equal to 2 because I am calling only one time. If it is true, that means my test is successful. I created this and I updated this. After update, completed should be true. That's what I am trying to check. Okay, so you will see this is passed because it is true. If I make it false, then it will fail. It fails. Okay, because it is coming as a true and I'm making it false. Let's run again. Today we'll complete the reducer. Tomorrow we'll take action because it's taking too much time. Okay, so it passed kind of thing. I'll give you this test also. Updated part, you can put it in your test case and check it. I'll give 1 minute to complete it. Let me know when it's done. Okay, let's take another one now. Now what I will do, I will try to call the index which does not exist, because you see it should not update if index is wrong. So I created only one post, but I'm trying to update the one number. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, I will comment this part and I'll check what reducer is giving me. Okay, let's see what happens now. Okay, let's try one more time. Okay, so you will see that I'm getting this part. This definitely failed, but it's trying to go to the complete part. So that means my code here is not perfect because I'm not checking if this is really existed. So what I have to do, I have to check. That means my code is not correct. So with the help of unit test, I found out that the code is not 100% correct. Okay, so for that, I have to check whether this existed or not. So here I will say if this existed, then only update it. Okay, then only update it, otherwise not. Okay, so let me put this here outside. Because count will be taken with the updated to do, which is the current to do. But this update part should happen in the if condition. Okay, so that's the thing we should take care of it. So here you will see it's trying to go to this line, and I don't expect this to go this line because if index is not there, why should I try to update it, something which does not exist? Okay, so I fixed this part and I will check it now whether I'm getting proper console. Okay, since I haven't put any expected condition, at least I want to see this one. Now I'm able to see all passed and I'm able to see this object also. And in the object you will see it is still false because I called the updated one with the 1 and 1 does not exist. So it should not update anything here. So I feel that I will write down the expect statement that at the 0 it should be false because it should not update the 0, 1 if I'm passing the payload of 1. Okay, so that's what I will test it now. Okay, so now it passed all the things. Okay, just write down this another test inside the same describe block. I will just give this one. Okay, let's go further now. Now we'll go to these two lines and then we'll check the percentage. Okay, so let's write down the test case for the, I'll copy the describe block and I'll take this followers one. So what I expect when I call the follower should have some data in it and follower's error should be null. Okay, so I will pass some dummy data here in the action.payload and I'll check whether followers is updated with the proper data or not, and this should be the null. Okay, so let's try to see. Okay, for dummy data I'll go to Actually, I'll take the data from the API only, but I'll consider it as a dummy data. Okay, so this is the data I'm getting it. Let's copy this one. And I will create one data here. Constant mock data is equal to, okay, I created this data. So it has the results 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it has the results as an array, and it has another property. I don't need any other thing. I need only the array. I'll just take the array. Okay. So this is my dummy data, which I feel that it should go in the follower part. So what I'll do, I will put in the payload, I will pass this mock data. And here I will call the state details followers. So when I call this, okay, I think I have to end the curly bracket. So when I call this type followers with the mock data, since data is proper, so it should update the followers and it should show the follower error and null. So we have to take both the condition where the followers is there and follower error is should not be there. So before I expect anything, I will just do the console.log. I want to see what is coming when I call this followers. So let's run this one. Okay, so if I see, I'm getting the reducer with the follower list of all the followers, and I'm getting error as a null. So that means it is working perfectly fine. Followers is updated with the array, and follower error is updated with the null. So now I will write down the expect statement. So what I expect that when I call this followers, I want this followers length to increase. So I'll say reducer dot followers dot length should be 5 because I'm passing 5 data. And I will also check error should be null. So I'll say reducer dot followers error should be null. Okay, these two conditions I'll check, and if both are there, that means the follower part is working fine. So let's test this condition. Okay, you see, okay, I did not put this correct message, but it is working fine. All tests are passed. Let's change the content of the test. So I will say should add followers properly. And I will try to only put one data. Let's remove the all other. I will just put one. Because this is dummy data, I just want to check with one data, and it should be one here. Okay, let me check again. Okay, so I get all the tests passed. Now let me complete this error part, and then I'll give you the code. So when I pass the error, I should see that follower should be empty array, and error should have some text in it. Okay, that's what I expect. So let's copy this one. Let's copy this one. Okay, I have to. Let's copy this followers one, and then I will change the content in it. I don't need this array of correct data because I know if I have error, then the error should be something. Let's say I will say test error. So now here I will make the mock data as test error, and I will pass the followers part here. Error, I'm passing error, and I'm passing payload and mock data. Mock data is something error message. Now, what will be the follower length if I get error? What should be the follower length? What should be the follower length if I have the error. No one is knowing. So when I get the error, I pass the error here. It should give the message. And when I call the error, I feel that follower should be 0. Length should be 0. So here will 0 come. And this this error should be the same message which I created here. So the error should be test error. Okay, let's run this again and see. Okay, so all 7 passed. Here I'll say should give error. Should update the error value. Okay. So now all tests are passed. I will give you these two blocks. You can add it. But till you add it, I will try to run the whole test case now to see what percentage of reducer is covered. So I will just say yarn test. There will be other failure in the test cases because we have lot of files which failed. But I'm basically interested in checking what is the percentage of site reducer. Okay, so let's, I think, change the package. Partition. Okay, so I get a lot of error, but I'm not interested. I'm interested in the reducer percentage, which is going to 100%. Okay, so that's what I'm interested in. All my lines of the reducer file should be 100%, and whatever I expected from this file should be covered in this test file. Okay, so because this line is not expected, only this is fine. But I try to do both the test cases. So here I try to write down all the test cases which I think that I should be able to test it. That's what I did it here. Okay. So that means our reducer part is done 100%. That's what we expected it. Tomorrow we'll complete the action part and then we will fix all other files. Okay, any questions? That's all for today.